Oh, hello. Hello, everyone. I was looking down at my phone. How is everybody? Welcome to Let's Chat on Sunday. And today it's kind of an open forum. I'm going to check with, if there's a question I can't answer, I will check with my guides. But it's kind of your time to ask any spiritual questions that you have or any anything you'd like to know. They can be personal questions, but not like, am I going to get my job or that kind of thing, but any kind of spiritual things you're wondering about, a ghost in the house or, spirit things or orb things or ghost things or, maybe the, spiritual reasons for specific events or people or that kind of thing. Anything like that. I'm happy to, we can talk about animals too. Anything I feel like I can answer myself, I will, but I will defer to my guides to, my team to give me information, and I'll do the very best I can to relay the information, depending on how confusing or difficult a subject it is. I have to have some ability to understand it. So if it gets kind of out there or kind of things that I have no idea, I'll literally have to just say exactly what I'm getting and hope that it makes sense. That's usually the way that works. So, thank you, Elizabeth Fuller. So is there anybody that would like to moderate today? Because if you would like to, and basically just kind of a troll watcher. So if you would like to, let me know. And I will, that's why I have my phone, and I will make you a moderator if you're not already a moderator. And I did want to go up and just right away welcome Lori Rogers as a new member of the club. And you can join the Intuit Club with just hit the join button on any video. And Queenie the Genie, how cute, as a new member as well. And that's where I do private mini readings, where you can ask personal questions or mediumship questions. And thank you, Elizabeth Fuller. And we also have a movie club, and we have a book club every quarter, and we have a special recorded guide message just for the club every month, beginning of the month. So, okay. So let me see if they're, okay, I'm having a moderator. Let me just get the moderator in place, and then we're ready to go. Okay, I just saw somebody that could moderate, and now I lost it. But I hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Harry's Mom 2008. Yes, please be the moderator. So I'm going to go ahead and make you a moderator. Whoops. And I have you in as a managing moderator, so you'll be able to do whatever you want. But just look out for trolls. And I'm actually very, knock on wood, I'm very lucky with that kind of stuff. So I'm just very thankful that I'm lucky that way. Every once in a while we'll get something, but it's pretty rare. All right, so I'm going to start the questions, and I will start with Okay, so Jackie says, hi, hello, beautiful Kim. Oh, hello. My question is, yesterday I was talking about Kobe Bryant, and I thought he was standing next to me, touching me my hair on my body, and my body was standing straight up. Was it him? Thank you. Okay, so what I'm getting is that, okay, so the answer is yes, but it was kind of like a portion of him, or a spark of him, something that was responding to hearing his name, and you kind of brought in with the way you were talking about it. This happens a lot with when you're in a house where there were spirits there, and you start talking about the event that happened there, and all of a sudden you'll kind of feel like there's somebody around you, or you might have something like that where you get chills, or you get some kind of feeling. There is something responding to it, and they're saying it was like a portion of him, and we can here our attention is so focused, right? We can only be kind of focused in on one thing at a time, or just a few things at a time. There, it's like thousands of things at a time. It's just different, and it's hard to get your head around, because it's just so not the way we are. But they're saying it was a portion, and that happens a lot when we do ladies' night. There's a portion of that person that shows up. It's not the whole spirit, and it's probably a portion that is related to the life we're talking about, right? So that's what I'm getting. So a portion of him, and when you have things like that happen, trust your instinct, trust what you think is happening, because most of the time you're correct. It's just your rational thought that will come in and say, well, how do I know that? I'm not a medium, or I'm not a psychic. But we all have these abilities. We all have, and usually they reveal themselves in our instincts, in our first thought, in our first guess, in our, it's like it's there. So trust yourself when things like that happen, but they're letting you know, they're kind of building on it. Like, how could that happen? Why would he be visiting me? And I was talking, but they're saying it's almost like you called in a portion of him, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so let's do this one. And this time I'll put the question up. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. And this is Sister 6, does waking up at the same time in the middle of the night have any meaning? Okay, so, okay. Okay, so what I'm getting is that it can. It's usually someone trying to get a hold of you, someone trying to connect with you. And they're even saying, like, sometimes it's somebody who's trying to maybe come into your dream, but it startles you awake. It kind of wakes you up. So think of it as I guess a visitation. And the best way to know who it is just to ask, who's here, who's trying to talk to me. And the first person that comes to you, like I said, 98% of the time, or 99% of the time, that's who it is. And then ask questions. Just talk as you would talk to someone normally, and ask them what they want. See what comes to you. I mean, make it a conversation. And it would all take place in your mind, right? Because spirits don't have a physical body anymore. They don't have a voice box anymore. So things are relayed to you in impressions. And they're subtle, right? So that's why it's always helpful to kind of be still, get quiet, have something that you can do. Like I'm, doing just kind of drawing, doodling and stuff, just to kind of occupy the part of my mind that's busy and active, so that I can quiet it down and hear, or get impressions, get messages. When you have clairaudience, the reason that it sounds like the memory of a sound rather than an actual sound coming from the outside in, is because they're using you as the way to get a voice across, because they don't have a voice box anymore. Now they can use vibration to make a sound outside coming in. So sometimes that will happen where they call it like in ghost shows, they call it a disembodied voice. They're using vibration, just like any kind of vibration that we have, I'm trying to think musical vibrations, that kind of thing. They're using vibration to make a sound and make it sound like a voice. And therefore we can hear it almost like it's outside of ourselves, but it's still not really a voice. It's something else. That's why a lot of times too on ghost shows, when they have the tape recorder and they'll play it back, it'll sound like a whisper. It won't sound like sometimes they can capture what sounds like a voice, but usually it's like a whisper. And that's because there isn't a voice box they're working with. It's something else. It's vibration, it's energy, it's something I don't completely understand, but that's what it is. Okay. Ida Nineful. Why are my dreams being blocked from me? Okay. Whoop. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm getting they're not being blocked from you. There's something about your the way you're moving in and out of different sleep states is unusual, or they're overlapping in a strange way. So you are dreaming, but you're not remembering because of the way your flow is in your dream state, or in the sleep state. So you might go to a sleep, not therapist, but a sleep expert, something like that. Get monitored, that kind of thing, to see what's going on. Because I've being shown that it's how you're moving in and out of different states of the dream state that it's not allowing you to remember your dreams. But you are dreaming. You're not being blocked. You're just not remembering. The other thing is to set up the intention to remember your dreams. So before you go to sleep, set the intention, I'm going to remember my dreams tonight. And do it, don't expect it to work in one night. Keep doing it night after night after night after night. And in a few days or in a week, you may start to remember little things that will come back to you. They may even come back during the day in the form of like deja vu or something like that. So just maybe try that at least. If you don't want to go see a sleep expert or whatever, go maybe try just setting the intention to remember. Okay. Kim, I keep having a dream where I face out my sliding glass door and a bright light comes through in a flash, passing through me and around the world. Am I the only one getting this? Okay, so I'm getting something about where you are, the land you're on, the place the place you are. It's almost like the in-between. This happened to us at Sedona. This is what happened. And the dreams that I had while I was there were so weird, and they were so real. I kept feeling like I was waking up and having these experiences in the middle of the night. And it was because where we were, there was so much activity. It was almost as though we were kind of in the in-between. It was kind of like it existed in the in-between. kind of an in-between this world and the next. And I wouldn't say like portal. That doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't seem like that's what it is. But it's more that it's kind of it's in this state of the in-between. And it could be just there's a lot of activity around your home or the area, or it could be where you are. Because for us, it was where we were. It was that certain area in Sedona and what was happening there. So, ask these questions. Ask these questions before you go to sleep. Ask these questions. Tell them to explain to me why I'm seeing this. Explain to me what's going on. But it does feel like it's something that's really happening, but in a different, I would say dimension, but it is like in a different, if you had a different perception, you'd be able to see this happening, because I feel like it's something that's actually really happening, that there is this kind of visitation. To me, it's coming across like a visitation, almost like a spirit. But it is like it's affecting everything and you. So that's what I'm getting. So I would, again, set that intention to have this explained to you and to understand it better, and ask them to come to your dream state and explain to you what's happening and why it's happening. Because I'm getting something with, it's like your house or where you are is like kind of in the in-between for some reason. I can't put I probably have to be there to put my finger on it, but it either is the activity around your house or the land you're on or something. Okay, so Craig Dixon, Kim, I saw a red and black flame above a young woman's head. I saw it for 7 seconds. This was 20 years ago. It seemed like we could read each other's thoughts. Who was she to me? So it's kind of telling you what it is in just your story, because I'm getting that it is somebody that you know in the spirit realm, and your paths are crossing, but you don't have a storyline in this story, right? You just saw each other and passed each other, but there is you have had stories in the past, or in other lifetimes, or in the spirit realm, but you're not having that here and now. But the red and black flame is being able to perceive their, it's not an aura, but it's more like their mental energy, or their psychic energy is something up here. So whenever you do medium work, you kind of open up the crown chakra. So there was something happening with that. There's also a recognition of like another reader, or another psychic, or another medium. I think it's medium. So yeah, that's what I'm getting, Craig. So maybe think about it and work with it a little bit on your own, because somewhere inside you have the answers. So go into, again, set that intention of who is this person? Why did I see them? What was going on? And sit in meditation with it and just see what comes. You'd be really surprised at the information you can gather just by yourself, setting the intention of wanting to know, and then getting the answers, and then trusting what you get. Okay. Hi, John of New. Everyone's just saying hi. Yes. I heard my neighbor yell at his dogs from inside his house. Then they stopped barking. Nobody was home. Who did I hear yelling? The house does have activity. Okay. So I'm getting father. It has to be his father or grandfather, because I feel like it's directly related to him. So it's either got to be his father or grandfather. And I feel like whoever it was isn't that fond of or wasn't that fond of dogs in life, and particularly barking dogs. So he may know who it is just from that description, if he's, if he is open to that kind of stuff. Okay. And Molly, I'm not doing like guide messages. That's more for the, like what I do at the club. And the only reason is that it takes a lot of time. And so even though there are many readings, it takes a lot of time. So, but we'll do that one day. I'll have maybe a guest on that can help me do that. And we'll do that one day. Okay, Molly. All right. Okay. What does it mean to heal ancestral karma, and how do we do it? Okay, this is definitely a guides question. Okay. Okay, so what I'm getting is that, so we have ancestors, we have people that we are, physically related to, and usually those physical relations are also spiritual relations, are part of our spirit family as well. Okay, now I'm getting some of the refrain. Okay, so what it usually means, and I feel like it can be a few things, but one of the things I'm getting, and maybe this relates to you, and this is why they're talking about this specifically, is that when there are events that happen to our ancestors, that we'll talk about maybe like with slavery or the Holocaust, things like that. What happens is there is a trapping of energy, and usually it comes out, they're saying, with emotions. And so when you have, so you might have, so let's say, I think it's best to work with an example, because so it can give you, even though it's anecdotal, it can give you an idea of what I'm talking about, because I feel like it's a little bit complicated. I'm asking them to dumb it down for me, because that's what I need it done. So an example, so say you have an ancestor who was a slave, and say that they suffered a ton of trauma in their life, okay? However, they're not coming back. They don't want to come back. They want to stay in the spirit realm, okay? So because you are related physically to them, because you're related spiritually to them, when you come back into the earth plane where this took place and where this happened, it's almost like it's carried over through you. And there are certain things that we can only really heal on the earth plane. They tend to disappear and reemerge as we're born. So like if you had lots and lots of trouble with relationships, and then you pass away, all of that may be stripped away, and you remember, oh yeah, I'm a spirit, and we're all connected, and everything's great, and everything's fine. So it kind of lays dormant at that point. It's kind of like you just kind of shed it. Well, if you go back into the spirit realm, or into the earth realm, you have to kind of rework and refigure out some of that stuff, because it's almost like it waits for you. And so when we're talking about ancestral karma, they're saying it's usually because certain ancestors have things happen and then they decide not to come back, or they don't come back before you come back. And so it's kind of, it's it's almost like you're picking it up where they left off, or you're picking it up on the earth plane because you're here now. So much of this stuff, especially difficult things, hard things, negative emotions, that they don't really exist there. Part of it is just because we remember we're not, that we're spirits. We're not part of this. It's just an experience we're having. But when we return here, that's where the stuff can happen. And so when you're healing ancestral karma, you're kind of releasing anything that may have happened to your ancestors that they couldn't fully work through while they were here. And that's what you're healing. And you're also healing it so that it doesn't work itself through you, because you don't want to, you tend to just pick it up because you're an ancestor and you're related to them through spirit. And so it's almost like it's there waiting for you when you come back to the earth realm. And if they came back, it would be waiting for them. And they'd have to have some kind of scenario where they're kind of working through karma, or working through, or seeing something from a different side so that they can work through it more fully. They can fully understand it. So when you heal ancestral karma, it really is a matter of letting things go, giving things up to spirit, giving things back to source, things like that, to heal it. It's very much, they're explaining it as very much an earthly thing, not a spirit thing. So it's ancestral pain that you may pick up emotionally, and so that you don't have to work it out through your own experience. You kind of give it back to source. And to me, it feels like any kind of ceremony you feel like would work for you to give it back, whether it means a meditation, calling in your ancestors and sending anything negative back to source, lighting candles, doing a particular ceremony that appeals to you. But the main thing is that you have to believe that it works. And so anything you're drawn to, if you're drawn to cards or crystals or fire dances or drumming or whatever you're drawn to in this life, try to use that tool to work through it and send it back to source, because that's what really needs to happen, is get it off the earth plane and back. get it, because that's where it's waiting for you, is here. And so so that's what I have, and I hope that makes sense. I'm a little dizzy right now, so I feel like they're really, really trying to make me understand. And that also tells me that actual spirits are here trying to help me understand what this is. But hopefully that's enough information that you can at least kind of wrap your head around what it is. And I feel like I can barely wrap my head around what this is, but that's what it has to do with. Okay. Spirit Watcher Suzanne, who are all these wonderful orbs I video on my phone camera after prayer? Okay, I just heard guides, angels, loved ones. So it's all of the above. And you might think about, if you were specifically talking to or praying for certain loved ones, that's probably who's there. But they're mostly guides and angels. Prayer is very powerful. We use it on the channel all the time. I get feedback all the time about, I was supposed to get this test. They were sure it was this one thing. I asked for prayers and there's nothing there. It's really is miraculous, especially when you pray in groups for a specific cause or a specific thing. It's very, very powerful. And so I'm a big prayer, a big meditator. So those kinds of things, I know that's how I work with orbs. That's how I bring them in. That's how I say goodbye, through prayer and through meditation. So they're saying guides, angels, and loved ones. And to know which loved ones, you can ask them to identify themselves by a color. My dad is usually blue. He's not always blue, but if I say who's here, I'll get a blue orb telling me your dad's here, so maybe work with color a little bit if you'd really like to know specifically who's there. Okay. I've been waking up and the TV in the bedroom comes on. Who is doing that? I'm getting a friend. This is a friend. I feel like it's a male friend. And it may not, you may have just learned of their passing, or you haven't learned of their passing, because I feel like it's very new. This comes across like an old friend, maybe even a friend from childhood, but a friend that is now no longer here. But I feel like they're letting you know they're around, they're okay. And it's also kind of like teasing you. So it could be a friend, like a childhood friend, or like a boyfriend or something that teased you or had fun with you, because I feel like they're having fun with you. And not trying to scare you, because I feel like it's very playful. It's not, meaning to scare you. It's just kind of playing with you. But I feel like it's someone who's just either just passed, or you don't even know they've passed, but they have. I get either a friend when you were younger, even a childhood friend. It could be a boyfriend. It feels male to me. So try to, and again, trust who comes to your mind first, because that's most likely who it is. Who is it I often feel in my bedroom entrance? So it's interesting, because I first got father and then I got guide. So it's to me, I believe I would interpret that as a guide that is like a father, very protective, because I feel like they're kind of in the doorway, kind of, not that there's something trying to get to you, but that's kind of their protective stance, or their protective place or something. I also feel like for all of us, we're susceptible when we sleep, right? We're reachable when we sleep, right? So I feel like you might have some medium tendencies, because I feel like they're almost like a gatekeeper. So think about that more. But I'm getting a guide that's really like a father figure, really looks out for you, very protective of you, and protective of who reaches you. So I hate to spring it on you that you could be a medium, or you have medium kind of tendencies. You may not have turned that part of you on, and you may not want to, but I'm getting that because of that, you're kind of open in a way you don't realize when you sleep. And so they're just there to kind of to protect you, and just to kind of keep you so you could sleep and you're safe and you feel protected. So it's very protective, and nothing to be afraid of. But I do feel like they're kind of imposing, so kind of like a taller figure. So it may feel like, oh my gosh, who is that? But they're protective. They're very protective of you. So yeah. Okay. Okay, this is a very, very, very common, Marianne. And to be honest, I have not figured this out completely. Why do orbs show up a lot when I record them sometimes, and then other times nothing? There could be, what I think is there could be lots of reasons for this, because I've gotten different reasons at different times. Sometimes it can be the condition in the room, something with the energy. I've noticed that they don't show up a lot when it's very, very hot. That it tends to be when the room is like a room temperature feel or cool. If any kind of air is on, they have a hard time showing up because it is hard to like move around air conditioning or heating or that kind of thing because it blows, and they are they're almost like little flash specks is the only way I can explain it, or like a spark, so they can be kind of blown around when stuff is on. And so they don't show up then, or they'll show up very little then, or they might show up really like streaks because they kind of get blown fast. So there's kind of like a streak of light, but, and then sometimes it can be because something is about to happen. I've had them really go quiet before something major happens. Right before, what was the event? I think it was the Maui fires. There was, I couldn't get anything for a few days, which is unusual. So certain events they may be kind of preparing for, or there's some kind of reason for it. It could be they're all in Maui. I mean, it could be, something like that where they just need more energy and in a different place or focused in a different way. But it's something I don't have a complete answer to. I think all of those things are true. So if you're in a hot, humid place, I would say get the room as much like air temperature as you can, and then shut everything off and then film. But I've noticed that they don't show up a lot when it's very humid or very, very hot. It's usually when it's cooler, room temperature, like comfortable. Also when you're sad, or when you're in a state of worry or nervousness, it seems like that's when they should show up. Sometimes they do, but it's harder. It's usually when you're upbeat and happy and really feeling great, that's when you get a lot of orbs. So work on your own. That's why I say, like, watch something funny, dance in the room. That is almost a sure way to kind of get the energy up and kind of flowing in a positive way, so that you're connecting and helping them come in with your vibration, because we have something to do with it. We have something to do with it. They're using or playing off of our own vibration and energy. So if you're down or depressed, or people around you have been down and depressed, there may be just that feeling in the room. Lift it up with something, sage, candles, dancing, laughter. All of those things can lift in seconds. It can be lifted. So, okay. Okay. I have on a few occasions felt a presence touch my leg at night. Who or what is this? This is a mother or grandmother. I want to say mother, but if your mother's still alive, it's a grandmother. And I feel like she's laying down with you. I feel like she's laying down beside you. It's a comfort thing, trying to make you feel comfort. So don't, and I always feel like when that happens, like you feel it, it's almost like, oh, whoops. Like I didn't know you could feel me, or I didn't know you could feel that. And I feel like it isn't that they're even touching your leg. It's just, that's where you're feeling the presence. That's where you're feeling it. When I get chills, lots of different spirits can give me chills, because they know that's my thing for like a affirmative, like you're getting it or you're saying it right. So my guides, when my guides give me chills, it's like my whole body's like, it's like from head to toe is chills. Especially when it's like, wow, yeah, you got that, you got that. It's like they're excited. It will be head to toe chills. When with spirits, with regular spirits, it will be certain areas. The other day I was reading for us. I was doing a mediumship reading, and they kept doing it down both arms. Just down both arms, from like up here all the way down to the fingertips. And it was just both arms consistently. The same thing again and again with this one spirit. They can, depending on us and their communication skills, or how long they've been around, or how long that how they're connected to us, how well they're connected to us. That can be, sorry, I have allergies. But that can be a factor too. So it's just the way you're picking it up. It's not like she's sitting there tapping your leg. I feel like she's laying down next to you to kind of comfort you, or just let you know that you have support or protected, but you can feel it on your leg for whatever reason. That's just the way you can just feel it. So I hope that makes sense. And it's partly because it is a person. With guides, it's a little bit different. They can do things a little bit differently, and they have a little bit, especially when you give them permission to come in, and you're, kind of accepting of them and stuff, that you can really feel a lot. But with people, it can be a little bit sporadic, a little bit different with every person. Oh, Terry, yes. If you guys are set up to moderate, please feel free. You're welcome to. Okay. And Harry's mom, 2008, is the lead moderator. So, and I think she can add people in as moderators too. So if you want to do that, you're very welcome to. All right. Oh gosh. Yeah. Unfortunately, Delta Dawn, it is. The more I try to expand my spiritual growth, the more I'm noticing I can't be around people. Is this normal? Yes, it is very normal. And it's not that you can't be around other people. It's just that when you expand spiritually, you pick up more, you're more sensitive, your vibration is higher. And when you're around people who are completely immersed in ego, which is probably still most people on the planet, they carry a very heavy, dense vibration, energy. They may not be as sensitive. So think of a person who is sensitive and picks up everything, and then having an elephant walk around and pounce around them, or somebody who's just very like, kind of big and clunky and that kind of thing. It really, it's almost like jarring to you to be around people that are of, and it's not better or worse. It's not that. It is where people are. Kids around other kids are fine. When an adult is around a kid, and a kid is doing kid stuff like screaming and yelling and jumping and playing and stuff, it can rub you the wrong way. It can get on your nerves. You have a different reaction to it. Your reaction is not just to jump in and play too, because you're at different phases of life, and that's just the way it is. You mature, and you lose that kind of being just, open with every emotion and crying in public and scream. Well, some people do, but most people mature and grow up, and you realize what's socially acceptable and you kind of manage your emotions better, and you manage you learn what's socially acceptable to say to other people and things like that. So it's just where people are. It's not that you're good and they're bad, or you're above them and they're below you. It's not that. It's just you're at different phases. And so the phase you're in right now, you probably just feel more comfortable in your own, little bubble in your house or in your home or your practice. You probably feel comfortable in a forum like this, where you can kind of manage, you can turn it off or you can turn it on. You can be as involved or uninvolved as you want. it's not imposed upon you, right? When you go out into the world and you deal with people, it is imposed upon you. That those energies, those things they invade your space. So I would say, just so you can go out, I go to concerts, right? Something I love to do, I bubble up. And I bubble up really, really well. I will sit in meditation before I go out. I will make sure I am completely bubbled up. I will be consistently in the moment, because that really helps to kind of be very present, not be taken in by any drama around you or things around you, or react to things around you. If people are singing too loud behind you, which just happened, singing too loud behind you or whatever, that you're not kind of sensitive to every little thing. You can kind of let things go. And when you're in the moment, you're very, very much in touch with your spirit. And so you tend to just react and interact with the world in a more neutral way. It's almost like you're the observer. You're observing everything. You're not affected and drawn into everything. You're very, it is almost like you're there as a spirit. You're kind of just observing and aware and able to be a part of it, but not, you're in it, but not of it, if that makes any sense. So bubble up really good before you go out. Mentally and spiritually prepare before you go out. Like if you know where you're going, prepare to stay in the moment, to not be drawn into stuff. Really, if you're with difficult family members or something, bubble up, stay present, be in that kind of more neutral space. But yeah, it's an actual thing, Delta Dawn, and it can be very jarring and it can become very lonely. But you don't have to be lonely. You can connect how you feel comfortable, but those connections are important, because people that aren't in that state need to be around and observe people that are. It's a help. It's a help to the planet for people to see people that are awake and are conscious, as Eckhart Tolle would say, conscious and unconscious, right? When you're conscious, the unconscious need to see that. They need to see what it is, and they need to be like, wow, I want to be like that. What's going on with that person? They'll want to, it may reach them in some way. It may not, but it may. Okay, let's see. Sweetie, darling Lulu. Is the pendulum the best way to connect to my guides? So already there are many ways you can do this. Sweetie, darling Lulu, it's what you are attracted to. It's what you like, what feels good to you, what you feel works. What I'm getting though is to, when you use the pendulum, take the answer you get and let it go. If you do this kind of like, okay, 2 out of 3, okay, 3 out of 5, or was that a yes or no? It just take what you get and then put the pendulum down and walk away and just say thank you. When you start to get in that space of just accepting what you're getting, it is almost kind of a fake it till you make it kind of thing, because when you start to move into that questioning space, that human part of us, that intellect that kind of gets in the way of the way spirit connects, because they don't do it through in a way that they don't have a physical body. They don't have, we talked about this. They don't have a way to just talk to us. So they have to get through to us in different ways. And when we go into the mind space, that's not where they are. They're in that, in fact, we need to quiet the mind, quiet ourselves up here. So when you're using a pendulum, it's an extension of you, right? You're using a tool, but it's still connected to you. So try to be in a neutral space when you ask the question, don't have a hope for yes or a hope for no. And when you get the answer, just leave it. That's the best way to grow the relationship with your pendulum, right? Because it's an extension of you. And if you're unsure of it, and if you don't really like it, and if you do, that's going to reflect in the answers it gives you. So pick a tool you love or that you like. And even if you like the pendulum, maybe you haven't found the right one. But if you feel like, no, I love my pendulum, I'm just not sure if it's right, just start accepting the first answer it gives you and put it down and just say thank you. That's the best way to start getting accurate information all the time. Okay, so that's that. Okay, I have 2 motion detecting cat balls on my mantle that keep lighting up. Can you tell me why? Okay, so keep lighting up, got it. So I'm getting energy force. So it's probably a spirit or an entity or some to me it feels like somebody that has a denser energy field, so they're able to set off something like that. Usually that is going to be not usually a guide or an angel. Those kinds of things are usually people, and it's usually people who have been gone for quite a long time. So more like, I mean, we say ghost, but it is more like a ghost because they've been usually gone for a long period of time. They're on the earth plane and they're kind of staying on the earth plane. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that. They may visit the house from time to time, or they may, there may be a reason that they may have just realized, oh, I can set those 2 things off, and so they keep walking by them, something like that. But it's usually spirits that have been on the earth plane for quite some time, and they want to be here. Now, ghosts, a lot of ghosts can be family members because they still have family here and they want to check in on them and they want to make sure they're okay. But the more they come here and they don't have a physical body, the denser they will kind of become, because that this is a dense environment. And if they're moving into it all the time, they just kind of become more dense because of the way the earth is. It's a dense environment. And so if they're here more often, they'll become more dense. That's why a lot of times family members, they can sometimes move things. The longer they're gone, they can usually let you know more that they're around. But I feel like it's a person, and I feel like it's not someone that is dangerous or malevolent or anything like that. It just feels like, and I almost feel like that's cool. Like they're excited they can do that. So, again, when it happens, ask questions. Who is this? See what comes to your mind. Okay. James Cox, if you can expand on that a little bit, I might be able to answer that question, but I'm not sure what you're asking. Okay. And again, like the spirit guided messages and like mediumship and that kind of thing, those are the things that I do in the club usually. And I will be doing that sometimes with the Let's Chat on Sunday, because I think that those kinds of things are important. So we can do those. Can one do mediumship with earthbound souls? Of course you can. Yeah. And like I said, sometimes you can hear them really well because they're here. And the more they're here, the kind of denser they become, I wish I had a better way of explaining that, but they become more earthly the more they're on earth, even if they're a spirit. And I would say, with earthbound souls, make sure your guides are around you, or angels, or, family members, whoever is kind of your gatekeepers or people that keep you safe. Because you don't want to just kind of let anybody in. And it's not because they're evil necessarily. They may be dealing with stuff, or they may be trying to work through things that are more difficult. And you don't want those kinds of emotions or things kind of attached to you, or making you feel like they're very, very, say they're working through depression or something like that. When they were here, they had horrible depression. So they're visiting the hospital they lived in, and they're visiting the home they lived in, and they've been here for a long time trying to understand this and figure it out. They still may have that depressive emotional state kind of lingering with them, and you don't want that put onto you, so that all of a sudden you feel kind of depressed and kind of down and stuff. That's really what we're talking about when we're talking about like an attachment. That's what we're talking about. It's about taking on whatever that soul is dealing with, or whatever is happening with that soul. You're kind of taking it on too, because you're sensitive and you're opening yourself up, right? When you are feeling something that's lower energy or lower level, try to put on your detective hat and really dig in and feel what is this actually that I'm feeling, or what is this that I'm trying to understand, what's going on here. Because the more we ask, the more we get. And so and so often it's stuff like that. It's not like this is just an evil presence. I'm sure there can be that, but if you're not out there looking for that, you're not likely to come across something that awful. You really have to go out of your way. You have to be a Satanist doing rituals all the time and trying to call that kind of stuff in. And even then it's hard to do. It's not like it just happens. So, if you have the best intentions and you're trying to, you keep your vibration up and you have your guides and angels around you, and you pick something up that feels lower level or what, put your detective hat on and try to figure out, what actually am I feeling? Oh, this feels like depression, or this feels like someone who's sad. Well, I'm going to send this sadness that I'm feeling to the light. I'm going to send this sadness back to source. So at least it won't go back on them, but it won't stay with me. It will go somewhere else. Like I said, the most important thing about rituals or things like that is that you have to believe they work. You have to believe they work. So if you're a prayer or a meditator, or, however you practice, that's clearly how you believe it works for you. So use it in your practice, or get rid of it through your practice, Okay, I'm going to go just pick a couple more kind of at random, if that's okay. And it kind of goes with the top one. The top one says, do you believe in angel numbers, that Spirit is sending us a message? Yes, I do. However, I believe that angel numbers are usually from people. And we call them angel numbers, but I actually think they're usually family members and things like that. Then Tina C asks, I keep seeing 1111, 333, 555, etc., but cannot usually understand what the message is. Is there a way to find out more clearly? Yes, I mean, there are actual like angel numbers you can look up. So often we'll see, and numerology too may play a part. So you might look up what ones mean. Ones are usually like new beginning, or the beginning of something, and 9 is like the ending of something. As my mom was passing away, my sister was getting, I believe from my dad, giving her like a play-by-play of like 1111 was kind of the beginning of when she started to decline. And when she was like in the middle, it was like 444, 555. And then when she passed, and they would go up to 5. They go from like 1 to 5, 1 to 5. And when she actually passed, they gave the the time, and it was like 5:55. It was really weird. So it was something like that. It happened to my sister. You probably know her, Chris. She does clairvoyant, and she's very, very sensitive and that kind of thing. So she was getting messages, but so they can be very specific, but they can be more general too. I've gotten in readings that when people are seeing numbers, that it's almost like a family member is trying to wake them up. When we get lost in our thoughts, we're not reachable, right? We get lost in our thoughts, we're not reachable. When you see a number, oh, there's 111 again, it like brings you present. It brings you to the present right away. So it's almost like the cobwebs are cleared for just a second, and you're seeing that. So when you have an interaction with a number, stop for a second and just see if anything else comes to you. A name, a person's face, a feeling. Stop in that moment and see what's going on, because sometimes you'll get answers in the moment. You'll all of a sudden you'll just feel like, that's my dad, or that's my dad, and then just say thank you, I got the message, I got it. A lot of times when you acknowledge it, say you got it, you'll get more, because they realize, oh, we reached you, we got you. And that may be also what may be happening, Tina, is that somebody realizes they're reaching you. So you'll get them more, and it will be like, why am I seeing all these repeated numbers? A lot of times it can be the same person, just realizing, okay, I got them, I got their attention. But I would look at the general meanings of these things, either by numerology or angel numbers. You can just put in angel numbers in Google, put in numerology in Google, it will give you information. But when you have these interactions, when you have this happen, stop in that moment and just try to just be present. Try not to kind of go to thinking, just be present for just a second and see what comes. Okay. Because that, if it's more personal, like a person, that may come to you. Okay, how can I tell? Debbie Giesemann? How can I, thanks, Kim. How can I tell if my third eye is open? Okay, this is a good one for guides, because I don't have the answer to that. Okay, so they're saying that the third eye is most directly related to visual perception. So if your third eye is open, you'll start to get visions. You may start to see things in your mind's eye. I'm asking anything else? Anything else? They're also saying, though, that you may notice things with your eyes as well. You may be able to detect more, like see auras, or see, certain things at night. You might see silhouettes, or you might see, orbs with your naked eye. That it's all kind of connected in with that third eye. But it's usually connected to clairvoyance. So you may find that you start getting more visions. And again, they're saying it's also the belief and intention of having it open. There are people that don't want to see anything. They don't want anything to do with this stuff. And so their third eye would be most likely closed. But even if you just have the desire to, I want to see auras, or I want to see energy, your third eye is kind of triggered and opened. So, and they're also saying that you don't always, okay, they're saying it has more to do with that, the desire to have it open and for it to be opened. And then once you have that, the desire to have it be used, see visions, see things in front of you, see things with your eyes. it so much has to do with what you want, what you're intending to do, what you're intending to have as a gift or intending to have as an ability. So it has to do with that, and that wanting it, the willingness to use it, the willingness to have it, because they're like, we want you all to have all of this. That's our wish for you, but it's up to you. We can't just hoist all this stuff on you unless you have agreed to it in some way, either before you got here. You know how some people are just born with gifts or born with abilities, or opening them up as you go. And it has to be up to you. So they're saying, you want to open your third eye? Tell us you want your third eye open and open it up, and then start to notice when you actually see things, or start to meditate and try to see visions and have those experiences. Because once you've asked for it to be open and you've worked on it opening, either seeing a third eye here or just feeling the openings, sometimes tapping, just having that experience of feeling like, okay, it's open now. I believe it's open now. Then start to move into having some clairvoyant experiences, either, asking questions, or, there's lots of different things you can do to test yourself online. There's a really cool one, a fun one you can do for clairvoyance, an activity you can do for clairvoyance to grow your clairvoyance. It's called Page 17. And you get a magazine, something with lots of pictures, a magazine or a book, or a coffee table book, or, something that has lots of pictures in it. And you ask yourself, what is on page 17? Close your eyes, have it come to you, try to clear your mind, have something, something come to you, even if it's just a color, anything come to you. And then go to page 17 and see what, how it matches up. Sometimes you might just see blue and there'll be blue on the page, or there'll be part of it's in blue. It's really an interesting exercise, though, and it's a fun one to do if you're trying to grow your clairvoyance. Okay. And it's immediate. I think that's what I like about it, too, is it's an immediate thing. Oh, right. Let's do a quick... And I'll do, I'm going to be doing Thursday Night Live this week, so you can do your political questions then. Let's see, what's a good one to end on? So what about this one? I didn't know my birth time, but I kept waking up at 3:57 a.m. in the morning. I checked with the Maryland State Records, and they mailed me a copy of my birth certificate. It was 3:57 in the morning. Okay, this is a thing. I see my birth date all the time. And at least what my guides have said that means for me, and what I assume it means for other people too, is to remind me that that I have a purpose in being here. There's a reason I'm here, and there are things I'm supposed to do here, and to not lose sight of that. And so I don't know if that's what seeing your birth date means for everybody, but it's probably a lot of people that this, like, your birth date will remind you, because that's your first day here, right? But that birth date that specific number will remind you have purpose for being here. There's stuff you're supposed to do. Don't forget that. it's almost like a little bit of a trigger, because every time I see my birth date and that comes up, I do tend to go to, I only have limited time here. So it's telling me, so it's kind of like, that's the way that's what comes to me when I see my birth date. It's like, I have limited time. I've been here for this many years. I probably only have this many left. It gives me a time frame. It's not spooky or scary or anything like that. It's just kind of like, it just comes to me. I have limited time here, but I've asked my guides, what does this mean? Because I see it all the time. And sometimes it's when you might be close to your purpose, or you're fulfilling your purpose, like you're on the right track. You may see it more. So as you become maybe more spiritual, you start using your gifts more, you might start to see your birth date, because it's like you're fulfilling part of what you came here to do. But for me, it's like, don't forget, you have stuff to do. And stay in that state of working towards your purpose and figuring out what your purposes are and working in that. But yeah, and I also think I see it when I'm like, it's like I'm fulfilling my purpose, or I'm part into my purpose or something like that. So, all right, guys. So I hope you guys had fun. I hope this was, I don't know, I hope it gave you some answers to some of those questions that just come up. We don't know why they're happening or what's going on. Yeah, so I hope this helped and was interesting, at least. So at our next one may not be live, because I'm going to be interviewing Dave Johnson from Moonride about channeling. And then the following one is a live one, and it is going to be fascinating. You guys are going to be like, what the what? It's kind of be a trippy one, but a lot of fun. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun with this guest, and I won't spoil it, but that is the week after. And so if I don't see you live next week, I'll see you the week after live, but the next one may be recorded, because he's in Australia. We couldn't figure out a good time to do it live. So that's what's going on. But thanks for hanging out today and talking about spiritual stuff. It's my favorite thing to do. And I thank my guides for coming in. Thank you, last minute moderators. I appreciate you so much. I really, really do. Thank you for jumping in and helping out. And yeah, I just really appreciate it. Okay. So have a great Sunday. Love and light to everybody. Have a good one. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. Oh, Thursday Night Live. I'll see you at Thursday Night Live. Bye.